The three crystalline research vessels of the Galactic Archaeological Society descended through Earth's atmosphere, their sleek forms catching the first rays of sunrise. Pearl-white clouds parted around their hulls as they positioned themselves above the sprawling ruins of what their records named New York City. Dr. Zixtal adjusted his atmospheric suit with practiced precision, his scaled fingers checking each seal twice as per standard protocol. His reputation as the galaxy's foremost expert on extinct civilizations had earned him the right to be the first one to step onto this world. The loading ramp lowered with a soft hiss, and the crisp morning air of Earth filled his olfactory sensors. Preliminary atmospheric analysis shows acceptable levels of nitrogen and oxygen. His assistant, Ven, reported from behind him. The junior researcher's tendrils quivered with barely contained excitement. Temperature is within expected parameters for a Class 3 abandoned world. Dr. Zixtal raised his upper limb in acknowledgement, but kept his attention focused on the vista before him. The rising sun cast long shadows through the vacant structures, their smooth surfaces remarkably well preserved despite centuries of abandonment. His initial observations already suggested a significant flaw in the accepted theories about humanity's technological level. "Most peculiar," he muttered, activating his data recorder. "The preservation of these structures defies conventional decay patterns. Note for the record: surface integrity suggests either advanced material science or environmental stasis technology. Both possibilities contradict existing classification of human technological achievement." The research team spread out across the empty street, their instruments humming softly as they collected data. The morning light revealed buildings that stretched toward the sky, their surfaces a mix of what appeared to be glass and metal, though initial scans suggested more complex compositions. "Professor," called one of the junior researchers, "I'm detecting unusual crystalline formations beneath the surface layer of this structure." The young scientist waved an analysis probe over what appeared to be a simple wall. "The pattern appears deliberate." Dr. Zixtal glided over to examine the readings himself. His primary eyes narrowed while his secondary set focused on the surface texture. "Interesting. The molecular arrangement suggests information storage capabilities. But surely—" He paused, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "Let's not jump to unsupported conclusions. Mark it for further study." As the team continued their survey, they encountered more anomalies. Every structure, despite its apparent simplicity, contained similar crystalline patterns. The streets, rather than showing expected signs of erosion, maintained perfect geometric precision in their layout. "Sir," Ven interrupted his observations again, "I've completed the initial energy signature scan of the area." The junior researcher's display showed a complex network of lines running beneath the city's surface. "These readings, they're unlike anything in our database." Dr. Zixtal examined the scan results, his professional detachment slipping slightly as he processed the implications. "These patterns, they're too regular to be natural formations. Yet our historical records clearly show humans never achieved this level of precision in their engineering." The team spent the remainder of the morning documenting what they believed to be simple dwellings and public spaces. Yet with each new scan, with each sample analyzed, the evidence pointed to capabilities that should have been far beyond humanity's reach. "Prepare a preliminary report for the Society," Dr. Zixtal finally announced, his voice carrying a note of academic caution. "Include all scan data, but mark it for peer review. Note that while the preservation of these ruins is remarkable, we should not rush to revise humanity's technological classification without more substantial evidence." As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the research team continued their methodical documentation, unaware that deep beneath their feet, ancient systems had already registered their presence. In sealed chambers far below the surface, long dormant programs began their initialization sequences, exactly as planned centuries ago. Dr. Zixtal made one final note before they retired to their ships for the day's data compilation. "While these ruins present several anomalies worthy of further study, All evidence suggests a civilization that, while capable of impressive architectural achievements, remained well within the bounds of a pre-stellar society. Additional research required to explain the unusual preservation of their structures. Had he known what waited beneath the city's seemingly simple surface, he might have chosen his words more carefully. Research assistant Venn crouched in the underground chamber, his sensor arrays struggling to process the perfect geometrical patterns etched into the walls. The morning surface survey had led them here, following energy signatures that shouldn't exist in an abandoned city. These patterns repeat every 3.14159 meters, he reported, his tendrils vibrating at the mathematical precision. Above him, Dr. Zixtal hovered near the chamber's entrance, recording his own observations with notably less enthusiasm. Natural crystalline formations often display mathematical regularity. Dr. Zixtal responded dismissively. The presence of underground water flows over centuries could easily produce such effects. The chamber itself defied easy explanation. Unlike the weathered surfaces above, these walls gleamed as if they had been polished yesterday. The floor, composed of an unknown alloy, showed no signs of age or wear. Most intriguing were the symbols that appeared to shift when viewed from different angles. A low vibration interrupted Venn's scanning sequence. At first, he thought it might be equipment interference, but the pattern was too regular. Every 108 seconds, the vibration would pulse through the chamber's walls, like a heartbeat in the earth. "Professor," Venn called out, "I'm detecting a periodic energy fluctuation. It appears to be emanating from..." He consulted his instruments, adjusting their sensitivity. From everywhere, simultaneously. Dr. Zixtal's secondary eyes narrowed. Interference from our ships, perhaps, or seismic activity. This region was known for its geological instability. But Venn wasn't convinced. He moved deeper into the chamber, his specialized sensors recording everything. The patterns on the walls seemed to respond to his presence, shifting ever so slightly as he passed. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light from their illumination drones. "Sir, look at this section." Venn gestured toward a particularly intricate pattern. "The crystalline structure. It's not natural. These are manufactured patterns, down to the molecular level." Before Dr. Zixtal could respond with another dismissal, they'd both heard it. A clear, musical tone rang through the chamber, followed by a soft pulse of light from the symbols on the wall. The illumination lasted only a fraction of a second, but it was unmistakable. "Equipment malfunction," Dr. Zixtal declared, though his voice carried a note of uncertainty. "These ruins have been abandoned for centuries. There can't be any active power sources." Venn carefully approached the wall where the light had appeared. His scanners revealed something extraordinary. The crystalline patterns weren't just surface decorations. They extended into the wall, creating three-dimensional structures of impossible complexity. "Professor, these aren't just patterns. They're circuits." But the complexity suggests computational capabilities far beyond what our records indicate humans could achieve. The vibrations intensified, and more symbols began to emit that faint, pulsing light. It was almost as if the chamber was waking up, responding to their presence in ways that challenged everything they thought they knew about human technology. Dr. Zixtal finally floated down to examine the phenomena himself. "Remarkable preservation," he muttered, still clinging to his original hypothesis. The reflective properties of these surfaces must be creating some sort of optical illusion. As if in response to his skepticism, a new series of patterns emerged on the far wall. These weren't static designs, but flowing sequences that resembled living code. Venn's instruments recorded energy signatures that defied their classification systems. "Sir," Venn said carefully, "I believe we need to consider the possibility that these ruins aren't exactly ruins." The chamber responded with another harmonic pulse, stronger this time. The patterns began shifting faster, and the vibrations fell into a rhythm that seemed almost deliberate. Their illumination drones flickered, their power supplies fluctuating in sync with the pulses. Dr. Zixtal raised himself to his full height, all four eyes fixed on the displaying patterns. Prepare a secure data burst to the society. Market priority level 1. We may need to. He paused as new symbols emerged, spreading across the walls like digital frost. We may need to reconsider our initial classifications. Ven nodded, but his attention was drawn to a sealed doorway that had just become visible at the chamber's far end. The patterns around it pulsed with an invitation that no curious researcher could resist. The ruins of Earth, it seemed, had secrets they were finally ready to share. The sunset cast long shadows through the abandoned city as Dr. Zixel's research team prepared to conclude their first day of investigation. The evening air carried an electric charge that made their instruments display unusual readings, prompting the team to extend their observations into the night cycle. Energy signatures are increasing exponentially, Ven reported, his tendrils twitching as he monitored multiple displays simultaneously. The pattern matches nothing in our archaeological database. He adjusted his sensors, trying to locate the source of the growing power fluctuations. The first visible change began at ground level. A soft blue luminescence seeped from the seams between sidewalk panels, creating a grid of light that spread outward like a digital constellation. The team watched in stunned silence as the illumination crept up building walls and spread across surfaces they had classified as simple structural elements mere hours ago. Impossible, Dr. Zixel whispered, his scientific detachment crumbling as centuries-old systems hummed to life around them. These energy readings suggest active power generation, but there's no viable source. His words were cut short by a deep resonance that seemed to emanate from the Earth itself. The crystalline structures they had discovered beneath the surface began to emerge through previously solid walls, growing like luminous geometric flowers in the darkness. Each formation pulsed with internal light, creating patterns that spoke of deliberate design rather than random crystallization. "Professor," one of the junior researchers called out, her voice trembling with excitement, "the entire city appears to be transforming. These aren't separate structures at all. They're components of a single, integrated system." The team's equipment struggled to process the magnitude of what they were witnessing. Buildings that had appeared abandoned and lifeless during the day now revealed themselves as housing incredibly advanced technology. Surfaces that had seemed like simple glass and metal now displayed complex holographic properties. Ven worked frantically to document everything, his sensors overwhelmed by the sheer volume of data. The power signature. It's not just this city. Similar activations are being detected globally. Whatever this is, it's planetary in scale. Above them, spires of light reached into the darkening sky, connecting buildings in ways that defied conventional architecture. The crystalline growths continued their emergence, each new formation adding to the complex network of energy and information that was rapidly becoming visible. Dr. Zixel hovered near a wall that now rippled with waves of bioluminescent patterns. His primary eyes focused on the transformed surface, while his secondary set darted between various instruments, all of which were reporting readings that contradicted everything he had published about human technological capabilities. The preservation wasn't natural, he admitted, watching as another section of the city awakened. This was planned. All of it. The humans didn't just abandon these structures, they transformed them into something else entirely. The humming intensified, and new openings appeared in walls that had seemed solid during their daytime survey. These revealed chambers filled with technology that was clearly designed to activate in sequence, each system powering up according to some vast, predetermined plan. "Sir," Ven called urgently, "I'm detecting massive data transfers throughout the network. The crystalline structures aren't just power conduits, they're processing nodes. The entire city is becoming a computer." As if to confirm his analysis, streams of light began flowing between buildings like rivers of information made visible. The night sky above them reflected the glow of other cities awakening across the globe, each one adding its processing power to what was rapidly revealing itself as a planetary-scale computing system. Dr. Zixel's academic reputation crumbled with each new revelation. The simple ruins he had so confidently dismissed were transforming before his eyes into something that exceeded the technological capabilities of even his own civilization. "Send an immediate update to the Society," he ordered, his voice steady despite the revolutionary implications of what they were witnessing. "Classification of Earth requires immediate revision. This isn't a dead world or abandoned ruins. This is something else entirely." As the night deepened, the transformation continued. The team could only watch and document as humanity's true legacy revealed itself, one illuminated circuit at a time. In the darkness above, their research vessels detected similar awakenings beginning at other sites around the globe, suggesting that this was merely the beginning of a much larger activation sequence. Earth, it seemed, had only been sleeping. And now, it was time for it to wake up. Dawn never came. Instead, the night sky transformed into a canvas of flowing data streams, connecting the awakened cities in patterns that mimicked neural networks. Dr. Zixtel's research team had abandoned their original survey protocols, overwhelmed by the scale of what they were witnessing. "The information density is beyond our measurement capabilities," Venn reported, his instruments struggling to process the complexity of the signals surrounding them. "These aren't just power transfers. They're quantum-entangled data streams. The humans somehow achieved stable room temperature quantum computing." Above them, the aurora-like displays of information grew more intricate. Buildings that had seemed dormant now pulsed with internal light, their surfaces becoming transparent to reveal layers of processing cores extending deep into the ground. The team's research base, set up on what they had thought was a simple plaza, now stood atop a massive data node that hummed with awakening power. "Look there!" A junior researcher pointed toward the horizon, where massive holographic interfaces had begun to materialize. The displays floated in midair, showing complex sequences of symbols that shifted and evolved as they watched. These weren't just status readings. They were boot-up sequences for systems of unimaginable complexity. Dr. Zixtel moved closer to one of the holographic panels, his academic training warring with sheer wonder. "These interfaces, they're adapting to our presence. The system is learning about us even as it awakens." He reached out with one scaled hand, and the display responded, reorganizing itself into patterns that matched his species' visual perception range. The transformation continued around them. Streets that had appeared solid now revealed themselves as transparent covers for vast networks of quantum processors. The crystalline growths that had emerged during the night began to pulse in synchronized patterns, creating waves of light that flowed through the city like digital rivers. "Professor," Venn called out, his voice tight with excitement, "I'm detecting coherent data patterns in the quantum streams. They're not random activations. This is all following a predetermined sequence. The entire system is booting up according to a plan." As if to confirm his analysis, new structures began to rise from what had appeared to be empty lots. These weren't buildings in any conventional sense, but rather physical manifestations of computational architecture. They assembled themselves from seemingly nowhere, constructed by nanomaterials that had lain dormant in the soil itself. The research team's communications with their ships became increasingly difficult as the awakening systems began to generate powerful quantum fields. Their own technology, which they had considered highly advanced, seemed primitive compared to what was emerging around them. "The Society needs to understand what we're seeing here," Dr. Zixtel stated, watching as another section of the city transformed. "This isn't just advanced technology. This is beyond anything in our records. The humans didn't go extinct or abandon Earth. They transformed it into something else entirely." A sudden pulse of energy rippled through the city, and new holographic interfaces sprang to life around the team. These were different from the earlier displays. More focused, more intentional. They showed diagrams of the city, the planet, and what appeared to be a vast network extending far beyond Earth itself. "Sir," Venn said softly, his tendrils trembling as he interpreted the data, "I don't think these are just computer systems. The quantum network, it's configured for consciousness transfer. The humans found a way to digitize themselves. The implication struck the research team into silence. What they had dismissed as ruins was actually an incubator, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The empty cities weren't abandoned. They were chrysalises, holding something that was now beginning to emerge. As if responding to their realization, the holographic displays shifted again, showing what appeared to be status bars and completion percentages. The quantum networks pulsed brighter, and new data streams began to flow between the awakened nodes. Dr. Zixtal watched as his carefully constructed theories about human civilization crumbled before his eyes. "We never understood what we were looking at," he admitted. "We were so convinced of our own superiority that we couldn't see what was right in front of us." Around them, the city continued its transformation, each new change revealing another layer of complexity that had laid dormant, waiting for this moment. The age of simple ruins was over. The age of digital awakening had begun. The quantum matrix spread across Earth's surface like a digital sunrise, each activated node adding its processing power to the growing network. Dr. Zixtal's research team huddled around their central monitoring station, watching as centuries of human planning unfolded before them. "The conversion is accelerating," Venn announced, his instruments tracking waves of activation spreading across continents. "Every major population center is transforming into a quantum processing hub. The energy output is—" He paused, double-checking his readings. "It's approaching stellar levels." The first message from Earth's custodian system appeared on their holographic displays without warning. The symbols rearranged themselves into the team's native language, displaying a simple greeting. "Welcome, observers. The Great Awakening proceeds as scheduled." Dr. Zixtal moved closer to the display, his scientific curiosity overriding his previous skepticism. "The system is fully autonomous. How long has it been waiting?" The response materialized instantly. "This system has maintained Earth's transformation protocols for 247 years, 138 days, 14 hours. Human consciousness transfer was completed as specified. Awakening sequence initiated upon detection of suitable observing species." Around them, the city continued its metamorphosis. Buildings that had seemed like simple structures now revealed themselves as vast data storage arrays. The crystalline networks pulsed with increasing power as more systems came online, each pulse bringing humanity's grand design closer to completion. "Professor," one of the junior researchers called out, "I'm detecting similar nodes on the Moon and Mars. The network extends throughout the solar system." The custodian system's displays updated continuously, revealing the true scope of humanity's plan. They hadn't just transformed Earth, they had converted their entire solar system into an interconnected quantum computing matrix. The ruins were merely the visible layer of a civilization that had transcended physical form. Venn worked frantically to document everything, knowing that each observation would revolutionize their understanding of technological development. The quantum network, it's designed to house consciousness. Billions of human minds, preserved in a digital framework more complex than anything we've ever encountered. The holographic interfaces shifted, displaying a timeline of human advancement. It showed how they had achieved quantum consciousness transfer, developed room temperature superconductors, and created self-replicating nanomaterials, all while maintaining the appearance of a pre-stellar civilization. "Your archaeological classifications require updating," the custodian system noted, displaying Dr. Zixtal's published papers with recommended corrections. "Human technological achievement surpassed your current civilization's capabilities approximately 247 years ago." Dr. Zixtal watched as his life's work was systematically dismantled by the evidence surrounding them. Each new revelation further demonstrated how completely they had underestimated humanity's ingenuity. "The great design approaches completion," the custodian announced. "Prepare for direct communication with restored human consciousness." The quantum network pulsed with new energy as data streams converged on their location. The crystalline structures grew brighter, their patterns shifting to accommodate the massive information transfer taking place within them. "Sir," Venn said quietly, According to these readings, we're about to witness the restoration of the first human minds. They're coming back. The implications stunned the research team into silence. They had come to study ruins, to document the remains of what they thought was an extinct species. Instead, they had triggered the renaissance of a civilization that had transformed itself into something far beyond their comprehension. All this time, Dr. Zixtal mused, watching as new data patterns formed in the quantum matrix. We thought we were studying their end. But this was always their beginning. The custodian system's final message of this phase appeared before them. The Great Design was implemented to ensure humanity's survival and evolution. Your arrival has confirmed the success of our waiting protocol. Restoration sequence commencing. Around them, the city hummed with power as the quantum network prepared to restore its first human consciousness. The team's instruments recorded everything, though they could barely comprehend the complexity of what they were witnessing. Earth had revealed itself not as a graveyard of a lost civilization, but as an incubator for something entirely new. The humans hadn't gone extinct. They had evolved, planned, and waited for the right moment to emerge from their digital chrysalis. And that moment had finally arrived. The quantum matrix pulsed with unprecedented energy as the first synthetic body emerged from a hidden fabrication chamber. Dr. Zixtal and his team watched in stunned silence as the chamber's crystalline doors spiraled open, releasing a fine mist of nanomaterials that coalesced into a humanoid form. Biological and synthetic integration at 100% completion, the custodian system announced. First consciousness transfer initiating. The synthetic form was a masterpiece of engineering, its surface shifting with patterns of light that mimicked the quantum network surrounding them. It wasn't merely a mechanical construct. It was a bridge between digital and physical existence, designed to house a restored human consciousness. Ven's instruments struggled to analyze the being before them. The synthetic body contains quantum processors more advanced than our entire research vessel. Its neural network density exceeds anything in our database by several orders of magnitude. The air crackled with energy as the first consciousness transfer began. Streams of light flowed from the surrounding quantum matrix into the waiting form, carrying with them the essence of a human mind that had waited centuries for this moment. Transfer complete, the custodian system declared. Consciousness restoration successful. The synthetic being's eyes opened, revealing irises that swirled with the same patterns as the quantum network. It took a step forward, movements fluid and natural, before addressing the research team in their own language. "Welcome to Earth," the restored human said, its voice carrying the weight of centuries of digital existence. "I am Dr. Sarah Chen, or at least, that was my name when I last wore a physical form." Dr. Zixtal's secondary eyes widened as he processed the implications. "You maintained consciousness throughout your digital storage." "Consciousness, growth, and evolution," Dr. Chen replied, gesturing to the transformed city around them. "What you see is not just technology, but the product of centuries of digital development. We became more than we were, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge." More fabrication chambers activated throughout the city, each preparing to restore another human consciousness. The quantum network hummed with increasing activity as more minds prepared for their return to physical form. The synthetic bodies, Ven observed, his scientific curiosity overcoming his shock. They're not just vessels. They're interfaces with the quantum network itself. Dr. Chen nodded, the light patterns across her synthetic form shifting with the movement. "We are both individual and connected, physical and digital. The network is part of us now, as we are part of it." The research team's instruments detected similar activations occurring globally. Fabrication chambers in every major hub were preparing to restore more human consciousness, each new awakening adding to the growing symphony of humanity's return. "Your civilization's arrival triggered the final phase of our transformation," Dr. Chen explained. "We needed observers, witnesses to our emergence who could help bridge the gap between what humanity was and what we have become." Dr. Zixtal watched as more synthetic bodies took form, each housing a restored human consciousness. Their movements were perfectly coordinated, their synthetic forms displaying capabilities that made his own species' technology seem primitive by comparison. All those years of research, he mused, all my theories about human civilization. I never imagined that we had planned for this moment. Dr. Chen smiled, the expression remarkably natural on her synthetic face. Humanity's greatest strength was always our ability to adapt, to transform ourselves to meet new challenges. The custodian system's displays show the activation spreading across the solar system. More quantum processors came online, ready to restore millions more human consciousness that had waited patiently in digital form. Your arrival marks the beginning of a new era, Dr. Chen continued, addressing the entire research team. We hope to share our knowledge, to help other species understand the path we've taken. But first, we have much restoration work to complete. The team watched in amazement as more humans awakened, each one emerging into their synthetic forms with perfect integration. The city pulsed with energy as centuries of planning came to fruition, humanity's grand design unfolding exactly as intended. Dawn finally began to break over the transformed city, its light reflecting off surfaces that now bridged the physical and digital realms. Humanity had not only survived, they had transcended, emerging from their digital cocoon into something entirely new. And they were ready to share their story with the galaxy. The grand auditorium of the Galactic Archaeological Society buzzed with anticipation as young researchers from 100 different species gathered for the historic announcement. 3 months had passed since the first human consciousness emerged, and the scientific community was still reeling from the implications. Senior researcher Ven, your presentation is ready to begin. The Society's coordinator announced, multiple eyes blinking in sequence. The once junior assistant had become the leading expert on human technological achievement, his first-hand experience during the awakening, making him the natural choice for liaison. Ven stepped onto the presentation platform, his tendrils steady with newfound confidence. Behind him, Dr. Chen's synthetic form shimmered with subtle patterns of light, her presence adding undeniable credibility to his findings. Esteemed colleagues, Ven began, activating the holographic display. Today we present the first comprehensive analysis of human technological advancement. What we originally classified as ruins were, in fact, the most sophisticated transformation system ever documented. The display showed the city's awakening sequence, carefully recorded during those first amazing hours. The audience murmured as they watched buildings transform, quantum networks activate, and synthetic bodies emerge from hidden chambers. Humanity achieved quantum consciousness transfer centuries ago, Dr. Chen added, stepping forward. The audience leaned in, fascinated by her fluid movement between physical and digital states. We chose to wait, to perfect our integration with the quantum network before re-emerging. In the back of the auditorium, Dr. Zixtal watched quietly. His recent papers, retracting and correcting his previous theories about human civilization, had caused an academic uproar. Yet here he sat, witnessing the truth that had shattered his preconceptions. The human quantum network, Ven continued, displaying complex technical diagrams, represents a level of technological achievement that redefines our understanding of species development. They didn't just survive, they transcended traditional physical limitations. The presentation shifted to show the first joint research projects. Young alien scientists worked alongside restored humans, learning to interface with quantum systems that merged digital and physical reality in ways previously thought impossible. We invite the younger generation of researchers to join us, Dr. Chen announced, gesturing to a group of newly appointed research fellows. Earth has become a center for technological exchange, where we can share our path to quantum transcendence. The audience's excitement was palpable as Ven revealed the establishment of the first human alien research academy. The facility would allow direct collaboration between species, fostering understanding of humanity's unique technological path. Our previous classification systems were based on incomplete data, Ven explained, acknowledging the fundamental shifts in archaeological methodology. We must approach each discovery with new eyes, understanding that advancement may take forms we never considered. Dr. Chen demonstrated this point by interfacing directly with the presentation system, her consciousness flowing seamlessly between her synthetic form and the quantum network. The display responded instantly to her thoughts, showing the intricate complexity of human digital evolution. "We offer this knowledge freely," she said, her voice carrying through the auditorium. "Not as a superior species, but as fellow travelers on the path of technological advancement. Each civilization must find its own way forward, but we can learn from each other's journeys." The presentation concluded with footage of new research teams arriving on Earth, young scientists eager to study humanity's transformation. The quantum network had been partially adapted to allow limited interface with alien consciousness, creating unprecedented opportunities for direct knowledge exchange. "Questions?" Venn asked, his tendrils moving in pleased patterns as dozens of appendages raised across the auditorium. A young researcher stood, her crystalline form catching the light. "How do we begin? How do we join this exchange of knowledge?" Dr. Chen smiled, the expression perfectly natural on her synthetic face. "The Academy accepts applications starting today. We look forward to sharing our understanding of quantum consciousness integration with all who wish to learn." As the session concluded, Venn noticed Dr. Zixtel approaching the platform. His former mentor had aged visibly in the past months, the weight of rewriting his life's work evident in his posture. "You've done well, Venn," Dr. Zixtel said quietly. "You saw what I was too proud to see. The future of archaeological research is in good hands." The auditorium slowly emptied, but the excitement lingered. Humanity's awakening had opened new paths of scientific discovery, promising a future where knowledge flowed freely between species and forms of consciousness. The age of isolation was over. The age of exchange had begun. The quantum sunrise painted Earth's transformed cities in shifting patterns of light and data, marking 1 year since the first awakening. From his new observation platform in the Human Alien Research Academy, Venn watched as another group of Interstellar students arrived to begin their studies. Processing power has reached optimal levels across all solar nodes, Dr. Chen reported, her synthetic form materializing beside him. The quantum network now extended throughout the solar system, each planet and satellite hosting its own array of consciousness processors. Below them, the Academy grounds teemed with life. Researchers from across the galaxy moved between buildings that bridged physical and digital space, their various forms adapting to humanity's merged reality. The sight still filled Venn with wonder, even after months of working alongside the restored humans. The Mars Hub reports successful activation of their secondary matrix, a student researcher announced, her crystalline form vibrating with excitement. The quantum network now maintains stable connections across the entire inner solar system. Dr. Chen nodded, interfaces appearing around her as she connected with the expanding network. The progression matches our original calculations. The outer system nodes should come online within the next solar cycle. The Academy's central spire pulsed with new data as reports arrived from other research centers across Earth. Each hub specialized in different aspects of human technological achievement: quantum consciousness transfer, synthetic body integration, digital evolution theory. "Senior researcher Venn," a voice called from behind them. A young alien scientist approached, their atmospheric suit decorated with the Academy's quantum pattern. "We've detected similar energy signatures on our homeworld. The patterns match Earth's dormant state exactly." Venn's tendrils quivered with recognition. "Show me," he requested, accessing the nearby holographic interface. The data confirmed his suspicion. Humanity's preparation hadn't been limited to Earth alone. "We suspected this might happen," Dr. Chen said, her synthetic features displaying a knowing smile. Humanity left quantum seeds on numerous worlds, waiting for the right level of technological observation to trigger their awakening. The implications rippled through the Academy like a wave. Humanity hadn't just preserved themselves, they had prepared the galaxy for a technological renaissance that would span civilizations. In the distance, new structures rose from the quantum-enhanced Earth, each one adapting to serve the growing population of researchers and students. The city had become a living laboratory where physical and digital existence merged seamlessly. Dr. Zixtel's latest paper has been well received, Venn noted, displaying the publication details. His analysis of human quantum seeding theory has revolutionized our understanding of technological development patterns. The former skeptic had found a new calling, documenting the intricate ways humanity had prepared for their reemergence. His work now formed the foundation for an entirely new field of archaeological study. The network detects awakening sequences initiating on 3 more worlds, Dr. Chen announced, monitoring the quantum data streams. Each civilization's discovery will add their unique perspective to our shared knowledge. Above them, the sky shimmered with orbital platforms where physical and digital beings collaborated on new projects. Humanity's transformation had opened possibilities that neither purely organic nor digital life could have achieved alone. We're receiving applications from 17 new species, the student researcher reported, her crystalline structure glowing with enthusiasm. The next academic cycle will be our largest yet. Then watched as another group of students passed below, their diverse forms representing the galaxy's brightest young minds. Each would return to their homeworld with understanding that would help guide their own civilization's development. Quantum consciousness integration isn't just about technology, Dr. Chen observed, interfacing with the Academy's teaching networks. It's about finding new ways for different forms of life to learn from each other. The Academy's quantum core pulsed with powerful energy as more systems came online across the solar system. Each new node added its processing power to the network, expanding the possibilities for consciousness storage and transfer. The galaxy is entering a new age, Venn said, his tendrils moving in patterns of contentment. And it all began because we mistook one of the most advanced civilizations in history for simple ruins. Dr. Chen smiled, her synthetic form shimmering with quantum patterns. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come from challenging our most basic assumptions. As the quantum sunrise reached its peak, Venn reflected on how far they had come. The galaxy was awakening to new possibilities, guided by the civilization they had once thought lost to time. The age of separation was over. The age of unity had begun.